Hi there people, welcome to this video. Today I'll be doing the Severed Hearts story mission in Nightmare difficulty and solo with my assassin. I'll be using the group vanish as it's usually the one I use for when I'm doing things with a teammate, but you can use, and I would highly recommend using refreshing vanish. It has the same cooldown and it heals you, which is very good for this mission. The general modifier is toxic clouds, so the enemies will explode in a toxic cloud a few seconds after they are killed. The modifier for this first part is Tengu, and you have two tethered enemies and a Tengu in this first encounter here, this small part. The enemies can be in various positions, but I chose this recording specifically because it has some interesting positions I wanted to give specific tips for. I use Deadly Nightshade, so my blowgun, the poison on it deals damage. And this is very useful, so I use it against the archers to kill them. The interesting thing about tethered enemies is that when they go down, they're not considered dead. So they will only explode in this toxic cloud. After they're both killed. The scroll has two possible positions. The first one is in this first shack here, and you can also have an enemy here possibly, but the mission changes as I mentioned. The interesting thing is this towel or thing that works like a door to this shacks counts as a physical object. So if you have an enemy on the other side and you want to kill them without being seen, you can actually assassinate them through this towel or door thing, and you will not be seen. Of course, some enemies will pay attention to that if they see the enemy being killed, but you will not be seen. There are two very interesting positions that they're both Tengu enemies occupying these positions that I really want to talk about. As you can see in the beginning, I need a toxic dart to weaken the enemy before I can assassinate the Tengu. But I can assassinate these two Tengus while they're sleeping without using the toxic dart. This is because when they're sleeping, you can kill them no matter what. So even if you have 0 stealth attack damage, if they're sleeping, they can be the toughest Oni and you will still kill them in a single hit. So use this to your advantage and eliminate these enemies while they sleep. These two positions are very interesting because the one that is on top of the rocks is quite annoying. And by the way, ignore me looking around for enemies. I was a bit paranoid and I thought I had left an enemy behind. These two positions are the only ones I know in this mission that the enemy can go to sleep. So you can wait a bit to have an easier experience and just kill them fast and swiftly. The second scroll position is in the tent above these like looted materials, these boxes and fabric and all that. So these are the two possible positions in this first part. Obviously it's Nightmare, so the scroll is always on the same position, and in this mission it's on the third part. But if you're playing gold or another difficulty, the scroll position can vary. An interesting thing, and this makes the mission a bit more difficult for assassins, is the fact that tethered enemies actually feel the darts. So normally an enemy wouldn't feel the darts and it wouldn't be aware that it's being shot at. But these tethered enemies are aware of that. So you need to be very careful so you don't let them see you. This is very important if you're going the assassination route. By the way, the Oni treasure is also in this first part. Usually it has a couple of Oni, but I don't remember very well. The modifier for the first part, as I said, is Tengu, but you will find it throughout the second part too. The modifier for the second mission is Oni or stronger Oni. I'm not sure what the symbol is. You will meet two Oni, the normal ones that are feathered in the back of the line that is marching. And you will also have two Tengu on the further ahead. If you are able to quickly assassinate these two, you can move up and assassinate all four other enemies in the line quite easily before they reach the disciple. The problem is, as I said, the tethered enemies are aware of your darts, so this makes it a bit tougher. But you can definitely kill them before they reach. Even if they reach the disciple as an assassin, you can probably assassinate them either way. I take the disciple down really quickly because the second enemy that is near the disciple can see me, and I did it fast enough that I was able to kill the disciple before he turned. So I just drop down and assassinate him. I go to the other side and assassinate the other enemy, but that you are seeing, so I don't need to narrate that. The scroll position in this second part is in the log that I showed. It's pretty easy to see. I use my ultimate to take down the disciple and the two Tengu very swiftly. But if you don't have your ultimate, you can try to get to the disciple without being seen and assassinate it, and then you can deal with the Tengu. This mission is quite a bit easier with a teammate, but it can be complicated on the last part. The Gyozen's Curse for this part tethers you to your ally, so this makes this third part a bit more difficult, and you need to pay more attention and go together. The modifier for this third part is strong Oni, so you will see purple Oni and those white-haired Oni. This means it's actually quite tough if you're going the assassination route. I believe the easiest class to use to solo these nightmare story missions is the assassin, just because you don't need to fight, you just need to set the enemies up and assassinate them. But still, this mission can be quite a bit tough because of those Oni enemies. The Oni enemies require a lot of setup, so you need to know how many darts you use to take them down and manage your ammunition very well. In the beginning of this third part, there are 3 things that I recommend looking at. The first one is to check if there are enemies protecting the gate. The second one is to check if there's an archer in the tower. And the third thing is to check if there's an enemy to the right near a log, because it starts walking away and turns its back to you. So usually I like to kill that one first, but it really depends on the situation. And that is probably the most important thing for this third part. Everything depends on the situation. As I said, I'm just showing you one video of the positions that you can find. This doesn't mean these are the only positions enemies can be in. Still, I chose, as I said, this footage specifically because of the position of some enemies. I usually move through the camp in a counterclockwise way, but as I said, it really varies and depends on the enemies I find. The Oni enemies require quite a bit of setup to kill as an assassin, so I sometimes just avoid them. A few changes or interesting things in this third part is that you have 2 tethered Onis, and in the middle of the camp you have 3 tethered Oni brutes. You have 1 Oni archer that can be very annoying depending on the position. And other than that, you have a lot of different Oni spread around the camp. So proceed with caution, because these Oni deal quite a bit of damage, and they can end your run very quickly. Remember to use your ammunition and refill it in the camp. This camp actually has quite a bit of places to refill your ammo. I would say around 3 or 4 throughout the whole camp. And this can be very useful. So you can use your ammo in your ranged weapon a bit more. This is also an interesting point, because when you grab ammo, you also get a heal. So if you're like me and brought very little heals for the mission and you're poisoned, you can use these places to get a heal and stop the poison. Another way you can deal with poison is that you can assassinate an enemy or use a critical strike, and while you do that, you can interrupt the coughing animation. This is very interesting because the coughing animation really puts you in a tough spot, so you can easily be comboed to death by the enemies if you're caught in this coughing animation. So this can be a big problem, and I would highly recommend either hiding, or you can also assassinate the enemy in the close to the exact time you are going to cough. And this will cancel the animation because it will count as if you were coughing while you were assassinating. And while you're assassinating, the enemies don't attack you. So it basically is a way to negate the effect of poison. The scroll in this third part is in that big hut, shack, or whatever you call, near the position of the leader, so to speak. And these are the 4 positions in the mission. You can see here I really messed up a few shots during the mission. I was just getting back from playing other games, so I had a bit of misfires and shot a bit more than I should. But I would highly recommend understanding how many shots it takes to weaken an enemy, how many shots it takes for the enemy to be ready to be assassinated, because it's very important. Mainly for the assassin, but if you're dealing with disciples, it's also very important. I would also highly recommend using a smoke bomb with munitions because it can help you regain some ammo during the mission. And that's it. This is the mission. It's not a terribly tough mission, but it does require your attention. Again, as I said, you can do Nightmare with lower key gear, and it's a great way to get some rewards and get 110 key gear. It's very good to farm. You can farm it alone, and it's good if you're leveling up. But please come with some decent gear, so you need to have some synergy. And more than that, you need to know your build. So understand what your build does and be sure it suits your playstyle. This way you can go through Nightmare somewhat comfortably. This is not a hard mission to do stealthily. You just need a bit of experience and a decent enough loadout. Thank you very much for watching. If you have questions or comments in general, please leave them below. I answer all the comments. And that's it. See you next time.